morning to you, the Camnet TV viewers. This is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Friday where we feed on business. This is business for breakfast. If you want to take breakfast this morning, let it be based on business. This is what this particular platform is about today on a Friday, every morning on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. So this morning we'll be discussing a lot of important aspects of what is happening around in the country. But remember, for the past few weeks, we have been discussing the mining sector, especially for small-scale miners. This conversation, of course, continues on the program. Remember, this has been a paid-for program by the Federation of Small-Scale Miners in Zambia. Particular topic this month. But it is very important because remember, mining is the backbone of Zambia's development. It is the earner of the country's forex. What is it that we can do in order to improve mining, especially for the small-scale miners? This particular sector, if well coordinated and organized, has the potential to contribute immensely to the development of this country. So these particular topics, we are not just going to sit and not talk about them. The more we talk about them, the more impact we create. So this is a breakfast show. I am your host this morning, Prudence Chota, and I am glad and excited that you have joined us. I know there are quite a number of you watching us on different platforms on our Facebook page. I see you there. Shout out to you. Good morning. Just say good morning. I will be able to shout out to you. And of course, those watching us in the comfort of your home or on your gadgets, you are moving, going for work, or maybe you're already at work, but you would want to hear the things that we are discussing. We appreciate your viewership. Without you, our viewers, Camnet TV cannot exist. So we do appreciate every time you tune in to listen to this particular program. But also remember that this program you can also be part of the contribution by calling the numbers that are on the screen to give us those comments, contribution around what is happening in your area, and of course on the topics that we'll be discussing this morning. So right about now, let's see what the doctor has for us on the health corner. This important segment is also brought to you courtesy of the doctor. But if you are an organization and you would want to continue seeing Dr. Mfaya come on Camnet TV, you can sponsor that particular segment. So let us see what the doctor has for us this morning.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. My name is Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. So this week we are talking about typhoid fever, and we talked about what is typhoid fever. We say that it's a diarrhea disease that is caused by a bacteria called Salmonella typhi or Salmonella paratyphi. Then we also say that it's transmitted through the fecal-oral route, and usually persons who have the infections can be able to pass the bacteria through the stool, and if a person has infected hands and they touch the food that you're eating and you ingest that food, you can be able to get the infection as well. Then we also talked about people who live in certain areas where there is a sewer. They can also get this infection through drinking contaminated water. Then we also talked about some of the signs and symptoms. We say that people with typhoid fever would have fever, and this fever usually progresses every single day. So it increases in severity every single day. The other thing is that they would have abdominal pain. They would also have constipation or diarrhea. So they might have constipation first and then diarrhea later, or they might only have constipation, or they might only have the diarrhea alone. The other thing is they would have body pains, body weakness, joint pains. They would also have rose spots. So these are like rashes that would develop on the abdomen or on the trunk, and these rashes would be red in color, and they would signify that there's a bacteria that has infected the skin of these patients. Then we talked about how it's diagnosed and treated. We say that usually they would need to do cultures of the stool, the urine, and the blood as well. Treatment is based on the antibiotics that work in that particular area or in that particular hospital, because places are different, and based on the types of sensitivities that are there, then they would be able to recommend a bacteria, an antibiotic for you to use. The other thing is that you need to replenish fluids for these patients and give them a good, soft, nutritious diet that will provide them with good nutrition to help them recover. They would also need to keep or observe good hygiene to prevent infecting other people. So today we'll talk about prevention. How can you prevent yourself from getting this infection? So first of all, you need to understand that if somebody is sick in your house, you need to advise them to observe good hygiene so that they can wash their hands every time they use the toilet, and even anybody else in the house. Make sure that they are washing their hands every time they use the bathroom. And also, if you're in public areas, make sure you wash your hands every time you use the bathroom or every time you greet other people. Before you eat your food, always wash your hands. And also cover your food every time you have leftover foods. Don't leave your food exposed and risk of contaminating the food from other carriers, like flies can increase. So make sure you cover your food and protect your food. The other thing is, if you are in a place where you drink water from the borehole, try to boil the water. Try to boil it before you can drink the water. So drink boiled water or chlorinated water so that you prevent yourself from getting this infection. The other thing that you need to do is avoid being in overcrowded places. If you stay in an overcrowded place, then observe good hygiene, or if you're in overcrowded places, in an overcrowded place, observe good hygiene. So typhoid fever can cause many complications in the body, so it's important that we protect ourselves. It can cause what we call a perforation in the intestines, and this can be very risky and can call for you to go for an operation. So you need to protect yourself and protect other people as well by observing good hygiene. The other thing is that it can cause nerve problems and psychiatric problems. So if it's not treated promptly, you can end up having complications in the nervous system where somebody has paralysis and other complications of the nervous system. So make sure you get treatment early. Take your loved ones to the hospital as soon as possible and get treated for typhoid, because it's possible for it to be treated and it's possible for you to stay clear of this infection. So I do hope you have learned something today. Make sure you watch again next week here on the Breakfast Show on the Health Corner. I am Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. And if you missed any other episodes, you can watch my YouTube videos. That is Dr. Nakubia Namfaya as well. I'll see you again next time. Remember to stay healthy and stay blessed.
that's what we could accommodate on the health corner this morning. Thank you so much for those who are still watching. Bright Kawaso on Facebook, they are saying good morning to you too. We see that you are watching Camnet TV. Thank you so much for tuning in to Camnet TV. Be part of the conversation. You too can send us that message via our Facebook page, or rather you can call the numbers that are on the screen and we'll get to conversate. This is a Friday edition of the Breakfast Show, and of course on a Friday we feed on business. It's strict business, and you know, when we talk about business, we talk about business because we love to see different things happening in our economy. Among them, providing solutions to some of the economic challenges that Zambia is currently facing. Remember, the country's inflation rate for the month of July, that was last month, did rise to 10.3%, the highest in over 1 year. This is against all odds that government is putting in place. Among them, you know, the IMF releasing 188 million United States dollars to Zambia, as well as the creditors agreeing to restructure Zambia's debt amounting to 6.3 billion United States dollars. Despite all this, we've seen our country's local currency has not been performing according to what we expected, as well as the economy there. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection has also indicated that the cost of living has gone high. And if you do follow news, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, we did see civil society organizations issue a statement, and they were also condemning the high cost of living. Like the cost of living has just escalated to alarming levels. And if you look at how much we make in a country, on average, averagely, salaries are around 4,500 to 6,000, and of course 8,000, but the cost of living for a family of 5 in Lusaka has gone up to 9,300 kwacha, quite high there. So this platform also allows people to provide solutions to some of these challenges that we are facing in the country. But you too can be part of the conversation. Remember, some of the solutions lie in you, the viewer watching this program. You might not know, maybe by President Bankala Bambela, you call us there, you tell us what you think can be done, and the president is listening. Some of those things can be implemented. Trust me, people do listen. We do get feedback after these programs where people want to get more insight and information on some of you, the callers who call on this particular program. So you too can be part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem, but be part of the solution. Don't be part of those creating problems for Zambia by robbing others. You can actually become a miner. Do you know that even stone crushing is mining? But it's only that it has not been promoted. Do you know that in the area that you are might be a mining site, but you don't know? This is why we are bringing this platform on a Friday where we are talking about small-scale miners. I just hope one day we'll be able to bring an expert on this program who's going to teach us how you can identify minerals. How is it that you can know that this is a mineral? How is it that you can sort and separate minerals? Remember, even people who discover minerals, those who are discovering gold, it's not by, you know, accident. It's because they have an idea of how minerals look. So you too can be a millionaire in Zambia. It is possible. What you just don't know is you've not taken that step. This is why this platform is here for you. So right about now, we are going to look at how is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles. That is Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar, against the Great British pound, the rand, and others like that. There you have it. That is our money market for this morning, Friday, the 4th of August, 2023, at 0706 hours. The Zambian kwacha against the Great British pound was buying at 24 kwacha 20 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 68 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the euro is buying at 20 kwacha 19 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 34 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 02 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 04 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha, on a sad note, oh, I really feel sad, but the Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar, they are buying at 19 kwacha 13 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 15 ngwe. That is our money market for this morning. I remember last week when we looked at the money market, Zambian kwacha against the US dollar was trending around 18 kwacha. We did see a slight appreciation last week, but we've gone back to depreciating levels. As you can see there on our screen, Zambian kwacha against the South African rand, they are not performing also according to expectation. Remember, we do trade a lot with South Africa. I think most of the things in Zambia are imported from South Africa, starting from fruits, sometimes clothing. For those who've got boutiques, you ask them, you find that they actually do trade a lot with South Africa, and among other things. So when South African rand is performing quite higher than the kwacha, these are some of the fundamentals that you're seeing now, where the cost of living is going up, because we do buy a lot from South Africa, and also we do buy a lot from China and Tanzania. I think these three countries, if you do follow the central statistics and how we do trade a lot with this country. So it is also saddening that our neighbor here, South Africa, kwacha is not performing according to the expectation. But we wish the government all the best. Remember, if the UPND administration fails, we have all failed. If you wish to see UPND fail, then you are not a good leader, because whenever you take over, you find things are not according to what you expected. And even if you are to take over, development will be very difficult to attain, because the previous administration failed, and they made things go to the waste. Recovery takes a lot of time, but destruction can happen in a second. If you're building a house, it might take you years to complete it, but destruction can even happen in a second. Just in a split of a second, the entire structure can collapse. So destruction takes a very small period, but rebuilding takes a lot of time. This is why we wish UPND administration all the best as they deliberate on matters, but you too can be part of the solutions. That phone call on Camnet TV can be what we need in terms of developing the country. Right about now also, we are going to zoom into some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. But if you know, there has been a video that has been trending on social media where a Chinese national was seen whipping his employees. So according to the employees, they are given a target of selling 10 bales of salaula every day. If you do not meet your target, one, you will be whipped. The way they whip children in school, you see where the teacher gets a whip and whips them on the hand. That was actually happening here in Zambia. So this Chinese national would whip the employees. On top of that, he would deduct 50 kwacha from their salary. But this, if you ask them, you find that they just get peanuts. But imagine every day having a 50 kwacha deducted from your salary for 31 days if you don't meet that target. Perhaps maybe if you didn't meet the target halfway, that is maybe we have 30 days approximately in a month. But imagine maybe 15 days you didn't meet that target and they have 50 kwacha deducted from your salary. How much would that be against the total amount? If someone is getting even just 1,000, that is about half of their salary, 500, and on top of that you're being whipped like a child. So that sad scenario has been trending on social media. You too can be part of the conversation. What do you think on this particular issue? And then we did also see the Minister of Labour issue a statement where she indicated that that particular company has been warned and fined. But we've seen in other countries, people who behave like this being deported. Is warning and fining these people enough to send a strong warning? This is not the first time we are seeing this. Remember, there was also that particular incident where this Chinese national accused the Zambian person of having taken his parcel and he was whipped. I think you saw that particular clip, but we've seen this trend continue. It's not the first time it is happening. Perhaps maybe let's hear from you. What do you think has been the reason why these particular cases have continued in the country, despite having the Ministry of Labour that is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring the welfare of the employees are protected? What am I talking about? Let's zoom into this particular story that made headline in our news yesterday, where one of the workers spoke out and said, enough is enough.
From a mere look, this shop looks ordinary. However, this is a scene of a video which has taken over social media of a Chinese employer captured beating his employees. Before the arrival of this reporter, the shop was open, with Zambian workers going on with their business, but closed the premises after noticing the presence of the media. When approached, most of the workers were hesitant to speak to this reporter, but Matthew Mumba has had enough.
I don't care nchito nachoka munochokamu inesiniopa I'm a Zambian. I want to save my people also. Yes, I want to save my people. Singa like the Zambian manzanga bavutika then maforeign bakasekela muno. It's not making sense. Uja muntu uja muzapeza kapena ama timenya kapena na vintu sivo kwa na vyali navo kapena na mapepa sivo kwa na kapena na ngena illegal. We don't know.
Mumba alleges that the ailing Chinese employer uses some officials in government to escape unpunished whenever the workers report his atrocities.
I'll take you to police. Manja penzo funo chipeleka police bantu bonse because of mabeoya nankala underweight. For what reason? Achipeleka police bonse bantu. For what reason? That's not making sense. No. Sindi wachifuni kongalira muziki. Wano ni muntu wakutira ati sana chipeleke po kunapsa. Chiptima sevenza che stizi wana vet sevenza. Contract no contracts. No nima. Mona. Drama atijuba. Kutupa sama less money.
Other workers who spoke on condition of anonymity said the Chinese official gives the workers a target of selling 10 bells a day, failure to which they are beaten and receive a 50 kwacha salary deduction.
Chinese cheta tupasa targets like kugulisa 10 bells in a day. So ukakangiwa kugulisa 10 bells in a day, you are being beaten of which per contract we seek and so. And then wakakumenyani uzano katawa vasija pay but at the end of the month wazajuwako ma 50 kwacha deduction. Wajuwako la salary yatu 1.3.
However, the Minister of Labor and Social Security says the Chinese employer was charged for his wrongdoing. This is not the first such incident where Zambian workers have complained of mistreatment in the hands of mostly foreign employers. In August 2022, a Chinese national at Yunda Investment was caught on camera beating a Zambian worker who he long accused of stealing plastics, which later found after checking the CCTV. Therefore, such occurrences puts into question punitive and preventive measures of government, especially Minister of Labor and Social Security. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
There you have it, a sad scenario for our Zambian brothers and sisters there. These are adults living home and their children only to go and be whipped at your place of work. This is strange. The strangest thing we've heard in a long time. Imagine where employees have been whipped at their place of work, and every time they've reported this matter, they've not been helped. Where is the problem? What are we not doing as a country? What do you think is the main cause of such atrocities in the country? Is it that police officers are not doing their job when it seems it is a foreign national who's reporting matters or who's being reported? Or is it that the Ministry of Labor is not living up to its standard? Because remember, that particular employee there mentioned that we've reported them, but no one has helped us. So sometimes you might be wondering that, but these people have been mistreated, why don't they speak out? Someone says they've reported the matter, but they've not received any help. And also, they were being threatened by this Chinese national all the time to say, I'll report you to police, I'll report you to labor. I even knows, I don't know if it was just intimidating them, as a way of intimidating employees so that they don't speak out. But you too can be part of the conversation. Remember, this is not the first time we are seeing such an incident happening here in Zambia. And this is not the only organization where this is happening. There are a lot of things happening in organizations, and our fellow brothers and sisters are just quiet because that is their source of livelihood, that is their source of income. So this person is thinking, when I go and report this matter, where am I going to work next? Where am I going to get my next meal? So despite all the torture, they just zip their mouth and it is closed. This is why we need to see stiffer punishment. Trust me, if the Ministry of Labor was to take that step, you would see the number of organizations that are going to report mistreatment in offices. But why a person is just warned and cautioned, tomorrow they continue with business, same working conditions, mistreating employees, others are not going to learn, and others are not going to come up and report because they know that even if when they report, nothing is going to happen to this particular person. You too can be part of the conversation. What is your take on this particular incidents where we saw adults being whipped like children for not meeting the target of selling 10 bells? And 10 bells is quite a lot. Imagine if this particular person has 10 employees and each of the employees selling 10 bells, 10 times 10, that is 100 bells. So he's selling 100 bells every day. How much is he making from that? And on top of that, if you don't meet your target, 50 kwacha is deducted. I have a lot to say on that particular issue, but I don't want to use my emotions, but I'm very disappointed, and also disappointed with the line ministry tasked with the responsibility to protect the Zambian people, because warning someone in this particular incident is not enough, because this is not the first time we are seeing this particular incidents happening. Why can't we do what other countries do, so that you send a strong warning? And trust me, a lot of people are going to come up and report the kind of mistreatment they are facing. So I will not say much on that particular incident, but you too can be part of the conversation. Let us know what you are thinking. Leave that message on our Facebook platform and also through the lines that are on the screen. Moving on to other stories yesterday, illegal construction in the country has continued. Sometimes we see in these compounds and in areas where we live, people sometimes even building as close as they can to a drainage system, sometimes even blocking the drainage system, but you don't realize the danger that that has when it is rain season and how many people that particular decision is going to affect. So some concerned citizens of Lusaka's Kabanana area have called on the local leadership to take action against individuals erecting makeshift stores on the road reserve. A check by Camnet TV News found that some shop owners have put footbridges without culvert, thereby closing the whole drainage system in order to allow customers access their store built on the road reserve. Meanwhile, Mpulungu Ward 26 Councillor Mwango Chileshe says he has engaged the engineering department at the Lusaka City Council for a possible demolition of structures. Let us see that story that made headline in our news yesterday.
Prevention is better than cure, they say. Building stores in road reserves to win the attention of potential customers continues to be the order of the day. Here in Lusaka's Kabanana area, some booth owners have completely closed this drainage system. Than cure, they say. Building stores in road reserves to win the attention of potential customers continues to be the order of the day. Here in Lusaka's Kabanana area, some booth owners have completely closed this drainage system.
Sincere apology for that. We seem to be having some breakdown in technology. Technology sometimes is meant to fail us, but we will get back to that story to see what we are talking about there. But an incident where shop owners are now blocking drainages in order for customers to have access to their shops that have been built along the road. That is, the lawlessness that we have been talking about and trying to avoid. But we'll get back to that story. But let's move on also and look at other things that made headline in our news yesterday. The confusion at Lusaka Commercial Market has deepened with some traders waking up to the demolition of 10 booths with merchandise missing. This is an incident, remember, where the minister did give an announcement that some makeshift stores that were erected just behind Comesa Secretariat. Remember, there is Comesa Market, and at the same time there is Comesa Secretariat. So the minister did give a directive that those stores should be, removed from there. But according to the information that we heard, the minister rescinded in his decision to demolish those. He said, okay, let's hold on for now and see how best we can tackle this particular issue. But yesterday, when the owners of those shops woke up, they found that their stores had been removed, their booths had been removed, and some of their goods were missing. They don't know who did this. They have no idea. The Lusaka City Council has not confirmed if they are the ones who undertook this exercise. But what we know is that 10 booths were demolished in the night, and goods are missing for these our brothers and sisters who depend on that business for their livelihood. So this is one of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. Let's just tune in and listen to this.
The never-ending troubles at Lusaka's Comesa market have deteriorated. The market over the years has seen protests of traders against what they claim a self-imposed leadership. The leadership wrangles are since in the courts of law. The wrangles in recent days have boiled over after a demolition notice of 236 booths from the Lusaka City Council LCC surfaced on social media. Some market leaders, after consultations with the council on August 1st, told this reporter demolition would take place away from the market behind Comesa Secretariat, accusing named leaders at the market of manipulating the letters to abuse their fellows.
Corruption. This is why we have gone to court. And what brought us here at Civic Center was the letters which they are manipulating. We are from seeing the director of planning who has continued refusing what Kachingwa is doing. He said the area that they have given the notice is not the Comesa market inside there.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Garin Kombo, however, intervened after cries from the affected traders. However, against Mr. Nkombo's guidance, some traders at the market woke up to a shock Thursday after their booths were uprooted in front of Comesa market. According to the traders, LCC expressed ignorance on the matter as they blamed the same individual whose name kept popping up. One of the representatives of the traders, Francis Simuchinga, said the traders will follow up the matter to the latter and ensure that the culprits involved are brought to book.
So for us, we are not happy with this kind of a situation. We all need freedom. We all need liberty. No one is above the law. So we are seeing other people getting the law into their own hands. This is why we have demanded even to the government that these people who want to take the law in their own hands, they should show us where they're getting these powers.
Another representative, Lucky Karuba, also expressed displeasure at the state of the affairs at the market.
Where on earth? This is a market. They are saying they have built these stands on the drainage. If you can have a look, this is not a drainage.
This is a drainage.
This is a drainage.
This is a drainage. You see? This is a drainage.
And it's actually him, this criminal, is the one who sold the shops which these young guys were supposed to occupy when he wasn't even in office. So this is our cry. Every time we want to complain, he says, I'll go to the office of the so-called and so on. The police is mine.
One can only left to wonder how the impasse at Comesa, from corruption allegations in reconstruction of the gutted market to operations, which has seen this latest incident, have been left to thrive under the nose of the country's biggest council, which sits near to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development headquarters in Lusaka. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
There you have it, confusion at Comesa market, day in, day night. It's Comesa market this, Comesa market that, Comesa market these people are cadres, these have been chased from the market, Comesa market. I'm left to wonder how much comes out of Comesa market. Maybe the interest so much about Comesa market should be on how much money the traders make. Perhaps we will try to do a little bit of investigation to try and understand how much money is made in Comesa market. Why is it that this is the only market that is full of confusion, that is full of complaints, that is full of disaster? I know we have other markets in Lusaka, but it is always Comesa market. Comesa market has always been a target, people building anyhow, people demolishing shops. And also, what do you think can be contributing to Comesa market being flooded? Is it that we have lack of enough trading spaces for the traders in Lusaka? That's why there has been so much scramble for space in Comesa market? Or is it that cadres have become so strong, they think they are stronger than the law, that they can, just do what they want and walk away with it? Because the Lusaka City Council has expressed ignorance on this particular demolition. And then remember, Comesa market has security officers. It's not that someone can just walk in the market in the night and begin to demolish things without security officers knowing. So what are security officers not saying? Who's responsible for this? Then remember, those makeshift stores that were demolished also had goods in there, and the owners of those goods are now missing. That is their source of income and livelihood. Today they have nothing to rely on because someone went and removed their stores, including the things that they own. You too can be part of the conversation and let us know what you are saying about these particular incidences. I know quite a number of you have been trying to reach us, but you have been unable to. But continue with those phone calls and we will be able to pick your phone and continue diving in the conversation. Remember earlier, we just played a story where some Chinese national was seen whipping Zambian workers. Some of those employees spoken to have explained the atrocities that they go through at work, among it being whipped and your salary being deducted if you do not meet the target of selling 10 bales of salaula in a day. 10 bales is quite a lot of bales. And remember, this is not the only store or shop that is there. There are other salaula shops, but you have to be vigilant and ensure you sell 10 bales every day, further to which you will be whipped. I'm sure these guys were being whipped almost on a daily basis. And then also the confusion at Comesa Market, among other challenges that we are facing in the country. You too can be part of the conversation. Let's get to conversate. Let us know what you have to say on these particular stories that we've played, even as we allow, or rather wait for our guests to settle, where we will be discussing a very important topic this morning. Also yesterday, we did see the Patriotic Front acting vice president. At first he was acting president, but now he's acting vice president. Remember, Mao Sampa did take this particular case to court. But before we can read that story, let's pick up this call. Sir, good morning. You are through to Camnet TV.
Yeah, I wanted to contribute. I want to contribute to the Chinese. After someone comes from China, madam.
Pardon?
After someone comes from China, madam, someone just finish for you. Okay? Then look at the, that's right. That's right. Go that out, madam. Get the letter, Minister, madam.
Your line is pretty bad. Your line is bad. Just move a little bit. Maybe if you try to move a little bit, I'll be able to get you clearly. Your line is breaking. Hello? I think we lost that particular caller. But if I got what he was trying to say, at first I got a little bit of what he said, to say how can someone come all the way from China to just come and open a salaula shop here. And then he also says the Ministry of Labor needs to move in. Yes, of course, we did see the Ministry of Labor yesterday issue a statement where they said, you know, this particular person has been issued with a warning and stuff like that. But do you think that in itself is enough to deter would-be offenders in the future, where when someone breaks a law, you just issue a warning? Remember, there was also that first incident where that a Chinese national was seen whipping a Zambian national for alleging that his store is plastics. But when they confirmed with CCTV footage, he actually discovered that the plastic was just put behind his car. But this is the person who was just warned, and you know, the relationship continues, and I don't know what has happened between him and that particular employee for now, but we've seen these incidents now repeating themselves. This is not the first time that that is happening. So you too can be part of the conversation. What do you think is resulting in these frequent abuses? Because that is even assault, not even an abuse. And remember, assault is a criminal offense in Zambia. When you assault someone, you've committed a criminal offense and you have to face the consequences of your action. Let's hear what you have to say on that particular issue, and also your comment with regards to the Ministry of Labor just warning that particular employer over the abuses that the employees have to face. Also, before the call came in, we did see Patriotic Front Acting Vice President Given Olinda assure the People's Republic of China that his party will reverse the setting up of the African Command Center in Zambia once it returns into office. Before we go to that story also, let us pick up this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
You are through to Camnet TV. Sir, tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, this is Omar. I'm calling from Manchester.
Oh, it's good to know Luansha is tuned in this morning. Please go ahead with your conversation.
Yes, on the Chinese issue, I want to encourage our able reporters at Camnet to continue following these issues. Because from what I've seen, it's not happening just in one area. Most of our friends from these places, they are abusing our people. So continue doing the good work that we are doing at Camnet and also expose these people so that our fellow Zambians are working in an environment that is conducive for them. You know, it's not good. You are coming from home, you want to make something for your family, you go at your workplace, you are mistreated, the conditions are not good. You know, even your input won't be good. Yeah, so we need an environment that is conducive for people as they are working. They know that I'm doing something that is going to benefit my family at the end of the day. So we thank Camnet for a good work that you are doing. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for that contribution. Of course, they are saying we continue with the good work that we are doing and expose more of what is happening. So maybe it's just an appeal to those who might be facing abuses at their places of work, and you know you've kept quiet for some time because you're scared that you might lose your only source of income. Yes, we understand you, but there is always a better way that you can be helped without you necessarily losing your job. And that begins when you open your mouth and speak out. When you speak out against abuses, the law provides that you're not supposed to be chased from your employment. But government helps improve conditions in the environment where you're working. I do understand sometimes it becomes very difficult, but maybe this should be an opportunity for you to speak out. Contact us on Camnet TV. If you are unable to get to us, leave us a message on our Facebook page and we will be able to respond to you as quick as possible. So thank you so much for that contribution. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume on your TV set.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir. Just turn down the volume on your TV set.
Yes, I've done so.
Yes, now I can get you clearly. Please tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and you can go ahead with your contribution.
This is Mr. Kombe. I'm calling you from Chingola.
Mr. Kombe, Chingola, it's good to know you're watching this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, one of the things that I can observe about the Chinese, we are having government that is very weak and is not able to support its own citizens. Because the role of every leader is to be able to protect the people, his own people, to speak for them, to defend them, and to make sure that they are protected from anything that can come on their own to cause them harm. But now, what I've been observing is that most of our leaders, they try to create a relationship with the people that are oppressing their own people for their own interest. So that's one of the things that I wanted to add on that point. Because a lot of things are happening, but people are afraid to report. Because even when they report, proper action is not taken. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. There on the Copper Belt, at least we've had 2 callers from the Copper Belt, and the concern has been around the fact that, you know, when these matters are reported, our leaders do not act accordingly. There is a weakness in our leaders because they also befriend some of the abusers and oppressors in particular incidences. Very true conversation there. And this morning also we are hoping to get to the immigration office. We want to find out how this particular Chinese person found himself in the country, and does he even have work permits. So we are also going as far as doing that to ensure that we get to the grassroots of this particular incident. So thank you so much for those who are watching Camnet TV. Right about now we are going to take a short breather as we allow our guests this morning to settle in. So let's just take a short break. We will be back to continue with the conversation.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, Join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, media news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In Forgotten Stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel. Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those that have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
With China, particularly with the People's Liberation Army, is going to be affected negatively by Zambia's decision to set up in Zambia the AFRICOM, the command center of the American Army. Would like to appeal to the Chinese people that this is but a very temporary setback. In a few years from now, obviously, the UPND will not be in existence as a government and will have to reverse, especially decisions such as the setting up of the Africa Command Center in Zambia. That decision will have to be reversed because it is not in the interest of Zambia, it is not in the interest of our neighboring countries, it is not in the interest of Africa, it is not in the interest of other nations that are willing to cooperate with Zambia. We have always been a non-aligned state, and this is the reason why we are getting cooperation from everywhere. But now that we are allowing ourselves to be commandeered by the Americans, it will be at the expense of the cooperation of other countries, which is obviously to the detriment of our country. With China, particularly with the People's Liberation Army, is going to be affected negatively by Zambia's decision to set up in Zambia the AFRICOM, the command center of the American Army. Would like to appeal to the Chinese people that this is but a very temporary setback. In a few years from now, obviously, the UPND will not be in existence as a government and will have to reverse, especially decisions such as the setting up of the Africa Command Center in Zambia. That decision will have to be reversed because it is not in the interest of Zambia, it is not in the interest of our neighboring countries, it is not in the interest of Africa, it is not in the interest of other nations that are willing to cooperate with Zambia. We have always been a non-aligned state, and this is the reason why we are getting cooperation from everywhere. But now that we are allowing ourselves to be commandeered by the Americans, it will be at the expense of the cooperation of other countries, which is obviously to the detriment of our country.
The never-ending troubles at Lusaka's Comesa market have deteriorated. The market over the years has seen protests of traders against what they claim a self-imposed leadership. The leadership wrangles are since in the courts of law. The wrangles in recent days have boiled over after a demolition notice of 236 booths from the Lusaka City Council LCC surfaced on social media. Some market leaders, after consultations with the council on August 1st, told this reporter demolition would take place away from the market behind Comesa Secretariat, accusing named leaders at the market of manipulating the letters to abuse their fellows.
Corruption. This is why we have gone to court. And what brought us here at Civic Center was the letters which they are manipulating. We are from seeing the director of planning who has continued refusing what Kachingwe is doing. He said the area that they have given the notice is not the Comesa market inside there.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, however, intervened after cries from the affected traders. However, against Mr. Nkombo's guidance, some traders at the market woke up to a shock Thursday after their booths were uprooted in front of Comesa Market. According to the traders, LCC expressed ignorance on the matter as they blamed the same individual whose name kept popping up. One of the representatives of the traders, Francis Simuchinga, said the traders will follow up the matter to the latter and ensure that the culprits involved are brought to book.
So for us, we are not happy with this kind of a situation. We all need freedom. Yes. We all need liberty. Yes. No one is above the law. So we are seeing other people getting the law into their own hands. This is why we have demanded even to the government that these people who want to take the law in their own hands, they should show us where they're getting these powers.
Another representative, Lucky Karuba, also expressed displeasure at the state of the affairs at the market.
Where on earth? This is a market. They are saying they have built these stands on the drainage. If you can have a look, this is not a drainage.
This is a drainage.
This is a drainage.
This is a drainage. This is a drainage.
And it's actually him, this criminal, is the one who sold the shops which these young guys were supposed to occupy when he wasn't even in office. So this is our cry. Every time we want to complain, he says, I'll go to the office of the so-called and so on. The police is mine.
One can only left to wonder how the impasse at Comesa, from corruption allegations in reconstruction of the gutted market to operations, which has seen this latest incident, have been left to thrive under the nose of the country's biggest council, which sits near to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development headquarters in Lusaka. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV, where we are having a wonderful discussion this morning. Remember, we did play you that particular clip in the program where we were discussing some of the atrocities that our brothers and sisters are going through in their places of work. I know we did see quite a number of you call the phone line. For others, we were unable to pick due to time, but we did see Copperbelt, Luansha there and Chengola contribute on that particular incident, also calling on the Ministry of Labour to be tough when it comes to implementation of some of the laws that we have. According to one of the callers, the weakness in our leaders is what has been contributing to the abuse by some employers on their employees. So we are moving on now from that and the Comesa incidents and fracas that has been happening on the Comesa, and we are diving into the conversation this morning. Remember, for the past few weeks, we have been discussing mining, and specifically mining for small-scale miners in the country. We did see wonderful conversations for the past 2 weeks when we did host our guest, and we did see quite a number of you call and make your submissions and contributions on that particular incident. Then remember also, when I came on this program, I jokingly said one day we will invite an expert here to just come and explain to us, how do you identify minerals? How can you be part of this growing industry that has to do with the small-scale miners? Remember, I am your host this morning, Prudence Tota, and of course in studio, I am not alone. I am joined by a wonderful lady. If you have followed her in her career path, you will attest to me that she's a powerful lady who's immensely contributed to the growth of mining in the country. That is Madam Grace Injapao Alfrati, who's, of course, the chairperson for international relations and deputy chairperson for SADC Women in Mining. Madam, good morning.
Good morning, Prudence. Good morning.
And welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Also in studio, I am joined by Reverend Cornelius Musua, who's the Diaspora Coordinator, U.S. Diaspora Coordinator for the Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, thank you, Gladys. Good morning, viewers. And the correction, Masua.
Masua.
Reverend Masua.
Pardon me. Let me correct that before I again say Musua.
And also it is Efrati.
Efrati. Madam Japao. I was thinking of Japao.
No, then when I go home, I'll find myself locked up.
Okay, madam, of course, Grace in Japan, Elfrati. Did I get it correctly?
Yeah, it's okay.
At least I'll get there as the conversation continues. But in case you're just tuning in or you want to tune out, please don't. Because you're just about to learn something interesting. If I told you I have Suji Light in studio right now, what are you going to say? This lady, Diama Samaila. You see what I'm holding in my hands right now? I don't know if you can see this particular stone, but it's not Suji Light. It's amethyst. If you have no idea of how amethyst looks, my director, can you please just cue me so that I show people something of what we are discussing this morning? This is amethyst. This is amethyst. Very interesting. If you've never come across amethyst in your life, what I'm holding here is amethyst, according to what I've been told. Not just that. You see this beautiful stone here? I don't know if you can see this beautiful stone. It looks like ice block or a cube of ice, but this is not a cube of ice. If you want to know what this is, just tune into the program and you will be able to know what this is. Or stay tuned to the program. You will be able to know what that is. Away from that, I have this. You see this beautiful pink, light pink. You want to know what this is and what it can do to you. These are millions. I'm holding millions. Just stay tuned to this program as we get into the conversation. So this morning, we are discussing production and value addition for small-scale miners. That is our topic this morning, and we've made it interesting by coming with some minerals in studio to just show you and give you a picture. When we talk about amethyst, when we talk about value addition, what are we really talking about? So this is what this program is meant. Diving into our conversation, I'll start with you, Madam Japao. The production, the current production for small-scale miners, how are we performing or where are we at? You can give example making reference to some of the minerals that are being mined by your members. So when you talk about production, where are we at the moment?
Thank you so much, Prudence, for that question, and thank you for inviting me to be within the studio this morning. When we talk of production, what are we talking about? Production is something that when, let's say you are in agriculture, and this is the season, and you are now cultivating. So you need to have 100 bags from your field. But if you don't have 100 bags in your field, you only have 3 bags for that season. That is poor production. So when we talk of minerals in this country, especially with the small-scale miners, we are not doing well. Why are we not doing well? Because we don't have the machinery that we are supposed to extract the stones from the ground. Most people, most women, most men, most youth, they are using pick and shovel. So the production is very, very low that we cannot even talk about. And when you don't have the production in minerals, then you know that even exporting or selling to make money, it's not there because you don't have the production. You don't have the products. So the production is very, very low where SMEs are concerned. We are not talking of the people with the machinery. No. We are talking of somebody who is in Kaputa, mining, using pick and shovel. We are talking of someone who is in Lufanyama, doesn't have excavator. We are talking of someone who is in Mapatizia. They don't have the machinery, they are using pick and shovel. We are talking for somebody who is in Olundazi, mining aqua and red garnet, but they don't have the capacity. So the production is very, very, very low.
Are you satisfied
with
these production levels?
No, we are not. We are not satisfied because we cannot compete with the other competitors from other countries because we don't have the production. We are not. We are still under par. So that's why you find we are always on this fora and the other forums talking about production. talking about how can an SME access the machinery. Because let's say someone wants to go to the bank and borrow. How would that person borrow when he doesn't or she doesn't have the production to raise money to pay back the loan? And this is the challenge. And also, when you look at the women miners who are mining, there are very, very, very few. Perhaps 2 or 3 women who are mining amethyst, who are mining emeralds in Ufanyama. There are very, very, very few who are able to have the machinery. But still, they are finding challenges because those machineries, to hire them is very expensive. So this is a very big challenge. And our concern here is that if we don't have the production, how are we going to increase the export and earn the dollar that we are looking for? How would an SME be able to market herself or himself? So these are some of the challenges that we are facing. And without production, for sure, there is nothing that one can do. So we have so much minerals. We have so many minerals in this country. We have all over the country, the 10 provinces of this country. But you find that the SMEs, they are not there. They are there, but they cannot produce what we are supposed to exhibit at international market because it's not there. Like if you go to Tucson or Denver or other places to showcase your products and you are carrying it in a suitcase, what are you doing? Look at the ticket. It's about 30,000 kwacha. And you have a suitcase full of perhaps 23 kilos to go and exhibit. Really, that business that we can talk about? No. So we are looking at this country, especially the SMEs, to be supported, to see how best they can. They are able to do it. That's why they are striving by using pick and shovel, because they have also children to look at. They've got also other needs to look at. But if there is no production, how are we going to survive? Or how are we going to earn the dollar that we want to be in this country? So these are some of the challenges that the small-scale miners are facing. The production in this country for us who have pick and shovel on the ground is something that we has to be discussed and to look forward that someone somewhere will help the small-scale miners.
Of course. Let me move to you, Reverend Masua. What would you say has been limiting the production of minerals in most small-scale miners? And what do you think should be done in order to improve production? The limiting factor in what we really need to do in order for us to improve production. Let's move to that question.
Thank you very much for this time. I appreciate being here. I think the limiting factor is that small-scale miners do not have the machinery. As there's a saying that the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. So the deeper you go, the more precious the stone becomes. So if you do not have the proper equipment for you to get deeper and get what you need, you cannot produce what is required and take it out there. Honorable Grayson Japao has referred to pick and shovel. If you're using a pick and a shovel, you are not going to get the stones and the minerals that you need. People do have exploration licenses, they do have mining licenses, but they are there waiting for, they do not have the capacity to bring out what they need to bring out. There's one time I visited a mine in one of, a prospective mine in one of the provinces in Zambia. And when we approached that area, we just saw some people running away. And when we got to the center of that, that piece of land, there were ditches of about 15 meters going down.
Wow.
And the good stones were under a hill. So they've gone down and they're going beneath the hill. And I was saying, this thing is going to collapse and will kill people. But what are they using? It's pick and shovel. So I do believe that the limiting factor is that people do not have the machinery. Of course, the power that be are cleaning up the mess that was there before. And small-scale miners need to be empowered so that they can have the excavators, they can have the bulldozers, they can have what you need in order to bring out, in order to have good production and take their stones out there.
You've just mentioned something interesting to say, 15 ditches going down. This does not mean that mining in that particular area just started then. It means it would have started maybe way back. These people who mine these minerals, where do they sell them? And do they sell them at the value that those minerals possess?
Yes, indeed, you have a point. They must have started some time back. For them to go 15 meters deep, they must have started some time back. And when they bring out, we found heaps of the stones that they're bringing out. And we have people who are going there to buy for them. And they are selling those stones legally. But it is being mined illegally. And what I can say is that when those stones are bought, they are bought for peanuts. It's just what the natives want to make use of, if not just to take to the clubs or to the taverns. But it is sold for peanuts, and the people that are buying from them are selling for a good profit. But the bottom line is that we need to clean up the mess like the cleaning started. We need to continue cleaning up the mess and making sure that people have the right machinery to bring out the good production that we need.
Thank you so much. Madam Japao, let me move to you. When you talk about the aspect of machinery, in this particular case, where do you think small-scale miners can access machinery from? Or who should be responsible for providing these machineries to small-scale miners? Let's strike a balance here. We are talking about, we don't have machinery, but where can we access this machinery, or how is it that we can put our heads together to ensure that small-scale miners are given the right equipment?
Thank you, Prudence. I think what we have to do as a country is that the government has been, advising us to form cooperatives. I think cooperatives will be able to access or let me say, when you are in a group, it's easy even to go and lobby for what you are looking for. The problem that we have is because we are doing it individually. And even if you go to the institution that you want a support, they'll ask you, how many are you in your group? So that's why now, as small-scale miners, we need to come together so that even when we approach government or we go to the Minister of Mines to say, we are a team, 20 groups in the country, can we be supported? Can you direct us where we can get the machinery? Because I think the way we are being supported by you apply, then you are given the license, then you go to Zema. So I think that it is the same way that the Minister of Mines can have a way of finding the solution to say, okay, how can the small-scale miners be supported? Why we are saying we don't have the machinery and we cannot get the machinery? In fact, mining, they consider it to be a risky business, because when you go to the bank to borrow, you want to borrow some money to buy the machinery, they will ask you questions that will make you not to access the loan. So I think it is good now that our government, the New Dawn government, through President Hakainde Hichilema, he has seen that there is potential in the small-scale miners, and they must be supported and must be assisted. But still more, there is very little that is being done to help the small-scale miners out there. When I come back to the issue of production, the deeper you go, the more minerals and valuable minerals you get. when you look at the minerals which you have just displayed there, the amethyst, the clear quasi, these are just on the surface, but the cream of the mineral is deeper. So when you just use the shove and pick, you cannot go about 100 meters. Then you won't get something. So coming back to your question of machinery, I think the Minister of Mines should find a way how they can make the SME be productive, because as for now we don't have the money to buy the excavator, we don't have the money to buy the bulldozer, we don't have the money to buy a jackhammer, we don't have the money to buy even a wheelbarrow, because people, they carry their stones in sacks to go and clean them. So these are the things that we are facing as small-scale miners. But I think, having said that, we have not stopped. Despite we don't have the machinery, despite we don't have access to finance, but we are still striving, because we have the families to look after. So machinery is the most important thing that even as we are discussing on this forum, I think some companies, those who are dealing in equipment like excavators and other machinery, they can come on board. There are these organizations which are looking after the women miners. There is also Federation of Small-Scale Miners, which is the mother body of all the mines. So this organization can be assisted also for them to assist their small-scale miners out there. So it is a very important question that where would you get the machinery? We cannot get machinery when we don't have the production. So now we are looking up to the powers be to find a solution how a small-scale miner can access the machinery, or to have a fund that perhaps that fund it will be rotating, so that that fund they can buy, let's say, 10 excavators. Each province can be given an excavator and say, okay, group up yourself, rotate. Let's say perhaps 2 months or 3 months on one mine, then you go to another mine, just like that, just to assist us. Otherwise, as for now, there is a big challenge.
Reverend Masua, are you yourself mining? Let's hear, what's your experience? Are you mining?
Yes, I am mining, and I am mining in partnership. I'll refer to what Honorable Grace Njapao talked about, forming cooperatives, that is coming together. That is the main problem that I have seen with my people, the Zambians. Just working in unity has been a big problem. I am, let me just share this. I'm living in Boston, Massachusetts. And down the road in my area, there were 5 Nigerian families who were living together. 3 Nigerian families who were living together in a 3-bedroom house with an average of 3 children each.
Wow.
They lived together for 5 years. And after 5 years, each family had raised enough money to put down as down payment to purchase a home. I went to these homes, living happily. There were no issues from that home. They lived happily. But let me come back. The issue is failure to work in unity. Failure to work in unity. The saying that I just referred to, teamwork makes the dream work. If small-scale miners could come together, we have an organization, FaceMass, that I belong to, because I believe in the vision carriers. I believe in the leadership. That is why I am part of this. Coming together, we will make the dream work. We have small-scale miners that do not have even a business proposal that can be taken out there to get the funding. And if they get the funding, they are allowing investors to get so much in such a way that they remain with peanuts. This is the time to get together, to unite and agree amongst ourselves as small-scale miners, where we say, if an investor comes, give them 60, take 40. Or let the maximum be 70, 30%. That way you benefit as a small scale miner, because the way we've been doing things, they cannot be fruit at the end of the day. They cannot be a benefit at the end of the day. It's about we change the trajectory to a point of having small scale miners be seen as people who are also benefiting from their mines.
Value addition. Let's move to that particular segment.
Yes.
I know when you mine minerals and you sell them in raw forms, you get peanuts. But when you add value, the value of your wealth multiplies. Away from the mining, the production, let's talk about value addition. Let me start with you, Reverend. How much value are we adding to the minerals as small-scale miners, the ones that are being mined currently? How much value is being added to them?
We're not adding as much value to what we're mining. My title goes, I'm the U.S. Diaspora Coordinator, and I've been going around to look at the stands of my Zambian people and what they are selling out there. If you are selling an emerald which is rough, it won't fetch half the price of what it would cost if it is cut. If you're selling, for instance, a friend of mine owns a citrine mine, and rough citrine does not give you as much, but the moment it is tumbled, the moment it is polished, the moment it is cut, you sell it for a good price, as opposed to just selling them in their raw form. And I'll give an example. I'm in partnership. Like I say, I'm doing mining in partnership, and we have a mine in the Nampundo area, a copper mine. And how we started with my fellow directors is that we're mining copper ore to sell out. We are selling to people from other countries, nationals, needless to mention who they are. But when we were selling the copper ore, it was not as profitable. And we had to come back to the round table and we said, this is not working. So let's change our business plan. And so we said, we have to set up a copper plant, a refinery plant, which is in the process, and we have to make our own copper cathodes. And the off-takers will even be coming to the mine to buy from us. That is proper value addition. That's a kind of value addition that we are talking about. Just selling minerals in their raw form is not as profitable, because the people we are selling to are actually adding value and selling at 7-10 times the amount you sold it for. So that's the loss, essentially, although you feel like really I've sold something out. But them guys, they are selling it more. I've moved around in the US to see what they're selling in those jewelry shops. It is finished products. And when they buy something from you, they bring it to you, you won't even know that this is what I sold them, because they've added value. Honorable Njapawa has something that she's going to show us that will let us know that indeed value addition is an important, is paramount in small scale mining.
I was even moving to that. Now I'm coming to you, Honorable. If you're watching this program, we do have something on the table. I'm gonna ask my floor manager to just do a little bit of zooming in, and I want you, madam, to do a bit of demonstration of what Reverend is talking about. When he says you mine something in raw form, what is he talking about really? Let's see what is in raw form, and when you add value, how does it become? So I'm now throwing this question to you when it comes to value addition. Just show me what we have here on the table and do a bit of demonstration when we talk about raw material, when we talk about finished product, when we talk about value addition, and when we talk about how much you can sell this and how much you can sell a finished product.
Thank you so much, Prudence. When you talk of value addition, we are talking of something that will bring you money on the table. So here on this table we have got 3 types of stones. We have amethyst, which is rough. We have amethyst, which is tumbled and polished. We have clear quartz, which was raw and it is now tumbled. We have rose quartz as well. So I will start lifting one by one. This is the amethyst. It doesn't look interesting because it's raw. It looks like, it has no value. And if you want to sell this stone, you have to sell it in tons for you to have something, because it looks like it is nothing. But now, interestingly, when you take this stone, you take it to Ndola laboratory, where we have some machinery. They put it in the machine, they tumble it. Then after tumbling it, it is polished. Then you now see something like this. This is amethyst. Here it looks like, it has no value. But here it looks amazing. And this piece only, the bracelet, I can sell this bracelet at $30. Only this bracelet, $30.
Wow.
Okay? Now, from the same raw material amethyst, we make also earrings, which you are seeing here. These are earrings. These earrings, when you put them on the international market, well polished, well designed, you can sell this at $20 per pair, because one here, you make $20. Then when we talk of the clear quartz is all over the country.
Okay.
And people think, no, this is just the stone, it has no value.
Just lift it a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to just lift it a bit higher. No? Okay, yes. My director is telling me that.
So
I want people to clearly see how the stone looks like, just a block of ice. If and I'm just thinking, I think when growing up, I saw a lot of these things.
Yes,
and if I knew what I know now, I could have been a millionaire.
Yes. And you see now, it is looking amazing. But it was in a raw form. But now it was tumbled and polished. So when you say, my stone, I'm selling it at $50, no one will say no, because it is, the value has gone up. Why? Because there is something which is attracting them. It has been polished. Then when you come to rose quartz also, it's a very interesting stone. It is found mainly in Central Province, Serenge and Mukush, and also in Eastern Province. So also, when it is in rough, it doesn't look like it's a stone.
You would literally not even know it's a stone.
Of course. But when this is the caption, then when you drill it here and make a pendant, you can sell this stone even at $50 or $40. It depends according to your customer and the relationship that you have. So why we brought this demo here is to show that there is in gemstone, every piece of a stone is useful. It can be used in rings, it can be used in the necklaces, the one that I'm wearing. You can use it in the bracelet that fetches more money, and you see how it's looking. You might think it's sudlite. This is not sudlite.
I almost thought it's sudlite when you came in, and I said, wow, you've come with sudlite.
No, this is not sudlite. This is amethyst from Kalomo. Let's say Mapatizia. We have also amethyst in Northwestern Province, which is also light and very beautiful amethyst. We have also amethyst in Mumbwa. So these are the stones that makes us to travel. When you hear that...
how many countries have you visited because of this stone?
Oh my goodness.
Maybe we can motivate someone there. We just dream in our dream mind.
I've been in this business now. This will be my 13th year. A friend of mine, actually, I won't mention her name, but I think if she's listening, she knows. I was saying, my dear, what is this stone? Because mining or stone, it is a business to yourself, and you must know what you want in life. So I was learning from my friend who is a miner in Mapatizia, and I said, please, I'll mention her name because she has made me to be who I am today. Mary Lwemba. So I say, Mary, what is this? What is that? And from that time, I'm an expert now. And when you ask me of the countries that I have visited, trust me, God is so faithful. I've traveled all over the world. if there are 150 countries, I think I'm only remaining with 50 countries. We've been going around exhibiting these stores. We've been to China, we've been to Egypt, we've been to Libya, we've been to Tunis, we've been to Germany, we've been to America, we've been to Canada, we've been to all the countries. Angola, we've been to DRC, we've been to Tanzania, we've been to Kenya, we've been to Nigeria, we've been all over. I'm coming from Angola, where we had our conference of geosciences. We want also young women to be geologists. And I was selling my bracelet at $20. And I made some little money from Angola. Other people from other countries were buying my stones because I'm also in jewelry. I'm also a miner. We are doing exploration of copper ore and also gold, both in northwestern and Rufusa. So value addition is very important because by doing that, you are earning and your stone is appreciated. But if you just take it raw, it's also you make little money, but they'll polish that side and bring it back to Zambia. You sell it at $100. The challenge that we have is we have only one laboratory in Zambia, which is in Ndola. But we urge government through means of mines and also through means of science and technology. Perhaps if we can have 4 or 5 laboratories in this country, which cuts and polishes, then it will help us to add value to our stone. Because when you go to America, yes, you can take the raw stone. It is also, you know, they want to buy it. But those who take the polished and cut stone, one stone can, if you have 2-3 carats in that stone, believe you me, if it's emerald, 1 carat can fetch even $500 per carat, because it is a stone that when you just display it, you are in trouble because you have a lot of buyers to buy the stone. But if you go with the raw material rough, as Reverend Masua has indicated, definitely the price will be low. So value addition is very important to our stones, and I'll urge our fellow miners out there who are mining amethyst, citrine, aqua, imperial topaz, all those who are mining the colored stone, to make sure that they add value to their stone. Even if it's 1 kilo, if it's 2 kilos, please let's try to take it to Ndola so that it fetches more money. So I'm encouraging people that we need to do that as Zambians. We should not be selling our stone raw and it comes back, they pack it nicely, then we sell it at $1,000. That we should not do it. Look at my neck. I'm wearing amethyst. These are beads.
Sparkling, beautiful.
Yes, yes. So this is what we have to do. And a value addition is very important to our stones, especially those who are in jewelry. They must make sure that they cut their stone, they polish their stone, they pack it. You know, packaging also is very important. So we need to do that. But having said that, the problem we have is we don't have so many laboratories in this country.
Yeah,
only one.
I was even coming to that. I know you're going to expand just a little bit on the value, on the aspect of not having enough machinery when it comes to value addition. But let me just move to you, Reverend, just a little bit. I know you've lived in the US, you've exhibited in other countries, and you have seen how other countries are doing it as opposed to how we are doing it. What lessons can we draw from how other countries are dealing with the issue of mining, more especially for small-scale miners, that we can bring back home, the lessons that we've learned, and how we can bring back home that?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the lesson that I've learned. First of all, lack of knowledge can actually kill you. Lack of knowledge can kill you, and we are lacking knowledge as small-scale miners. If you look at the small-scale miners that are operating in in Botswana, you would wonder and say, where have we lost it? That is why I was saying we need to change the trajectory. The lesson from other countries is that there's order, procedure. I have seen people getting loans and they start servicing their debts. They start paying the people they owe. Instead of accessing the loans, putting it to good use, having profits, paying back the loan, and using the rest. I don't want to come here and start preaching, but I extracted scripture from 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7. This talks about a certain woman who had lost her husband, and she was so much in debt. The husband was working for the prophet. She was so much in debt that the people that the husband owed were coming to get the children, to make them slaves, to work for them. And I see that the problems for the small-scale miners are a complex set of problems. And we have to tackle one at a time, one at a time. Honorable Japawa said we shouldn't sell stones in their raw form. I'm looking at one mineral which is mined in spots of this country, and mainly it is bought from a neighboring country, malachite. It's a green rough stone, but when that is polished, it fetches so much. If it is shaped in different animal sizes, it fetches so much. In the US, people have dogs and they call them man's best friend. If you shape malachite in just the form of a dog, it is so marketable that the Americans will just be buying from you. So we need to see that we have complex problems. Let's start tackling them one at a time, like the way our friends have done in Botswana, the way our friends have done in Namibia. And if we learn, if we get the knowledge from those who have done it before, we will be headed to having a golden cup of victory and not bottled water of defeat.
I remember when we just discovered that we had minerals in Northwestern Province, we had gold. The first thing that government said, by then the Patriotic Front government said, you know, we don't want to rush in just mining this gold. We need to talk to countries that are doing it so that we see how it is being done and we can replicate the same aspect here in Zambia. But currently we've seen an influx almost everywhere of now gold. And you know, it keeps me wondering, because we saw the way it was handled in Northwestern Province to an extent where the mine was even forced to close. But again, we are seeing now an influx of mining almost everywhere, in Bika, in where. When it comes to dealing with these natural resources that God has blessed us with, especially gold, let's just talk a little bit about that. What do you think is a step that we should take as a government to ensure that these minerals, one, are safeguarded, two, they serve the interest of the people, and of course the small-scale miners, who are usually the ones discovering these minerals?
I think it is regulation. And the powers that be are doing a very good job when it comes to that. Lithium licenses are not being given. Sujlite, the licenses, mining licenses are not being given. Why? It's because the government is in the background working on how to regularize this. Because if you just give it out there, it will be abused. So we don't want abuse to be there. The powers that be can actually regulate this. It's all regulation. I remember, let me say, if I'm in Zambia, I would see a bus passing and somebody would just throw a banana peel out there. But if they are in South Africa, if they are in Botswana, they will not throw that banana peel. Why? Because there is regulation and there is a rule of law. I'm so glad the streets of Lusaka are looking so clean. Wonderful. But let me not digress. But what we need is a regulation. Like we know that Zambia has got so many minerals that are domiciled in this country. Let's regulate that. I'm so glad that we have not rushed into just giving licenses for lithium. I'm so glad that we have not just rushed into giving licenses for Sujlite, but let's have guidelines, let's have regulations so that when the mining licenses are given, it will not be abused. Something that you do not treasure, you will not you will abuse. So once there are regulations, once the government or the powers that be give guidelines, it will be a successful story.
Let me move to you, Madam. Having been in the business for 13 years, you did mention that we only have currently one place where value is being added to the minerals. Why do you think this has been the case?
The produce, let me just add on what Reverend Maso has said, then I'll come to your question. I think the Ministry of Mines, through its minister, they are doing their best for them to make sure that all the minerals in this country are protected. Yes, you know, administrations have there are so many things that there are different administrations. This administration, it has its own policy, and another administration, it has its own policy. But I'm being frank here. This government is doing its best to make sure that the Zambian person is part of the mining sector. And I think the Minister of Mines, I'm not from the Minister of Mines, but we interact because of the nature of being in mining. I believe the ministry is doing something that will soon announce, especially Kaseseli and the other places. Now, coming to your question of why we have only one laboratory, I think that is also something that the government has to look at. If the private sector, especially the small-scale miners, had the capacity, I think they were going to have even small laboratories in their homes. But now, let's say the government has to come in, because that laboratory, it is only one in Copper Belt. And I don't know if they have all the equipment, but we need about 5-10 laboratories in each province must have a laboratory, because each province has got minerals. So I think the challenge, I wouldn't know much about the challenge of that. Perhaps people were not, you know, they didn't know what to do. Perhaps we thought, you know, extracting minerals, then you just go and sell. Perhaps we didn't know that you have to add value to the stone. So now it's now that we know that when you add value to your stone, then the stone will fetch good money. So that is the time now we are thinking of having more laboratories in the country, because without that, we cannot do it. Yesterday, I saw somebody send a video to me of emeralds. And in our blogs, in our groups, we are very upset. This gentleman is, you know, marketing the emeralds. And, you know, after he said how much, $800,000, $350,000, you know, he's talking to people. So we are very, very excited. But at the end, you know what he said? This is Zambian emeralds. Yesterday, last night, I had even to send a message to one of my brothers to say, see what is going on. Why should that person start showing Zambian emeralds? But me as a Zambian, when I go to Angola, I go to America, I don't have the mineral, the emeralds. Why? It is very difficult for a Zambian to buy the emeralds, because our friends who are mining emeralds, they are not supporting the Zambians. Because we are supposed to be buying that the emeralds from them, and we add value as Zambians. But it's very difficult for a Zambia to go to the mine and say, please, I have come, I want to buy some pieces of emeralds. It's very difficult. But our friends who are coming in this country, they are able to buy. Because perhaps they have got money or they have got connections, we don't know. But we really need the laboratories in the 10 provinces. And my appeal this morning is let the government come in and see how best they can acquire these equipment from for the 10 provinces. And you know, Like in Lundazi, I'm wearing this. This is aqua. It is on the ring. This is aqua. So you see this ring, when you look at it, this is value addition. And when I sell or I buy this ring, it costs a lot of money because there is value addition to it. So we need more laboratories, and the government must think of it to at least have one laboratory in each province. We have one in Copper Belt. Let's have one in Northwestern. Let's have one in Central, in Eastern, Northern, Rapula, and Southern Province, Central Province, so that the small scale miners who are mining these stones, they can take their stones there and polish and cut and add value to their stones. So we are appealing to the government, which is now trying to help the SMEs, the small scale miners, to acquire or even to find a way under Ministry of Mines how they can support the small scale miners to buy the portable, equipment that they can be able to cut, polish, and make their merchandise look good and be competitive on the international market.
Reverend, your concluding remarks in 2 minutes over what we are discussing this morning.
Great. I will rush through. I was looking at Honorable as she was showing her rings. I've seen another ring, and that could be Imperial Toppers, a new discovery. That should be Imperial Toppers. I have it in my home in the US, and I'll be selling it, not in its raw form. So my last remarks to the small scale miners is that, guys, let's have a vision. Let's have a plan. We should not do things like they say pante. No. Let's have a plan. Let's have vision. Let's get the knowledge from those that have gone ahead of us. That is something that has helped me even in ministry. I learned from those that have gone ahead of me. Myself, I'm the diaspora coordinator in the United States. Those that are exhibiting in the US, you are free to reach out to me. There are some things that I've noticed that when people are exhibiting, at times racism is a big issue. They may not even know that they are being racially profiled. Somebody who has lived there longer would know that somebody is being racially profiled, and they can take your precious minerals for peanuts. So it is important for us to have knowledge. It is important for us to be united. It is important for us to work as a team. And if we move as a united force, and the powers that be, supporting the small-scale miners, we will definitely achieve our goal. Thank you.
Over to you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Prudence. What we need to do is we need to come together as small-scale miners. Let's form cooperatives wherever we are. Let's not work in isolation. And I'm just appealing to the government that it has to help the small-scale miners. We have been talking to them. We've been discussing with them under the federation, that is Federation of Small-Scale Miners. We have been having meetings even with the Minister of Mines. But what we are appealing is that, please, let's sit again on the round table. Ask us, what are the most challenges that you want to be addressed? And these we need equipment for us to have production in this country. We need equipment for us to to be at the international market. We need to have production. But if we are still using pick and shovel, believe you me, we shall be stagnant forever. And my appeal again is that us as miners, let's be united. Let's ask where we don't understand, because education it's not limited to everyone, to anybody. So my fellow miners out there, we are here discussing the challenges that we are having. We are here discussing about the production. How can we improve our production? We can only improve the production if we have equipment. Where can we get the equipment? We need the government to help us and see how we are going to work together. The small-scale miners, we are many in this country. Once we are supported, believe you me, the economy also will move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, so my appeal is to the government and also to ourselves. Let's be united. Let's work as a team. Let's form cooperatives. The time when I was president of Association of Zambian Women in Mining, I'm now the past president. There is a president already. No, we created a lot of cooperatives. So I trust and believe that they are also talking to those cooperatives. But let's form cooperatives. It's how the government can support us. It's how other people can support us. Individually, it's very, very, very difficult to be supported.
Thank you so much, Madam Grace Njapao Alfreti, you said? Efrati, yes, of course. She has been prominent when it comes to speaking to issues that deal in mining. I think even when she explains, you can see the passion and how much she wants to see this thing work. Also in studio, I was joined by Reverend Cornelius Masua, who's the U.S. Diaspora Coordinator for the Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia. Till next week, this has been your host, Prudence Chota, and the entire Camnet TV production team. It's bye for now, and God bless you. Thank you so much.